Hello everyone, and welcome to the next video in this series on Komodo Dragon's openings. We're having a look now at sidelines against 1e4. Let's start off with Alekhine's defense. Knight to f6. What does Komodo Dragon want to play against that? Well, it's pretty good really. Komodo Dragon wants to play e5, d4, and then the four pawns attack with f4. Again, this is one of my favourites. Definitely my favourite way to deal with the Alekhine, and it was also recommended by Gawain Jones in volume 1 of his excellent Coffee House Repertoire. So obviously getting some attention there. Komodo Dragon's main line is actually a line that we've seen quite a bit at the TCEC. This has been selected for some of the super final openings, and Queen d2, Queen e7, Rook d1, Rook d8, and yeah, I mean, this is not so bad for black. I mean, the pieces are quite active, just hard to really get some, to really disrupt white's pieces. You know, if white's careful, that centre is not going to be touchable. And King h1, important move from a tactical point of view. And after h6, h3. Queen c1 here was Gawain Jones's recommendation, although it can often transpose. But Komodo wants to play h3, and then its main line goes Queen b4, b3, Knight c8, Queen c1, Queen e7, c5, and well, you can see that white's got a pleasant advantage here. Just a nice space advantage. That knight on c8 is quite passive, and we've got yeah, quite a bit of potential to be able to attack this e5 square and get a grip on the centre. Komodo Dragon gives it 0.84 for white, which I think is fair enough. Of course, you know, both Leela and Stockfish were able to hold these types of positions as black, but it didn't look comfortable, and certainly didn't give you the feeling of wanting to play the Alekhine on that basis. So 4 pawns attack against the Alekhine, pretty nice. Against d5. E takes d5. Funnily enough, Komodo Dragon thinks that knight f6 is black's best reply, and then after d4, well, something like knight takes d5, and it was preferring this to normal variations. Queen takes d5 is the line that most humans play, so that's what we're going to focus on. Knight c3, and now two things. I mean, there's the two main lines now are Tivyakov's Queen d6 or Queen a5, which has come back into popularity. So Queen d6, Komodo Dragon thought that black should play a system with g6, and well, it was looking at this line for white, which to be honest is just very pleasant. Castles, castles, and yeah, I mean, white's just got a nice centre and a nice space advantage. It's not terrible for black, but I always found these sort of positions quite joyless to play. And after knight e4, which has been played before in some correspondence games, Rook e1 is Komodo's slightly unsurprising novelty. c6 takes, Rook e8, c5, with an evaluation of 0.99, which is quite nice for white. You know, really getting towards a clear advantage, serious advantage there. After Queen a5, Komodo looked at a lot of things, but in the end it plumped for the line that again has been looked at an awful lot in TCC, and it's been very popular in engine chess. In general, black's been holding, but not so comfortable, I think. Bishop c4, e6, and now g4, h4, knight bd7, we take on d7. Knight takes d7, h5. Amazing how black manages to save this light squared bishop, just keeping it somehow in life. Bishop d5 takes, bishop d3, and actually even Magnus Carlsen played this against Ferrugia quite recently, although yeah, he lost quite badly in actual fact. I mean, this has been sort of holding for as long as Stockfish or Leela's playing the black side. But for example, we've got a win Leela against Rothscharder here. We've also got Stowflace beating Ethereal. So yeah, quite nice really for white in principle. Komodo Dragon's main line is bishop d6, queen f3, castle queenside. c3, bishop e3 was Ferrugia against Magnus, but c3, rook df8. And now varying from bishop e3, which was played in Hare Krishna against Hera, Brest 2019, wants king g2, h6, a4, king b8, bishop f4, takes, queen c7, queen g3. It's a slight advantage for white, really. I mean, you've got a king-size space advantage, probably the opportunity to advance on the queen side as well, bishop versus knight. But yeah, I would imagine that engines would hold this. But Komodo gives it a 0.72 evaluation. So yeah, pretty promising for white. The other lines, then let's have a look at d6 and g6, so the Pirc first of all. So after d4, knight f6, knight c3, quite interesting here. I mean, Komodo considers e5 transposing back into a Phillidor to be black's best line in this case. And Komodo Dragon goes for the main lines. Worth pointing out that Gawain Jones, I saw in his Coffee House Repertoire Volume 2, he recommends Rook G1, which is pretty sexy, I have to say. Komodo Dragon was very interested by H3 with a quick G4 afterwards, which is similar. But in the end it plumps for Bishop C4, Bishop E7, castles A4. And well, yeah, I mean, this is just a pretty standard Phillidor. Not terrible for black, although I find it always a little bit joyless to play. The interesting thing is that after g6, Komodo Dragon considers this move bishop f4 to be white's best in this position, which is very surprising. It's only a line that's really come into consciousness really at the human level because of the Jabava London system, where white goes bishop f4 first, and then if black doesn't react and occupy the centre, white can play e4 and transpose into this Pirc. But it's very interesting that Komodo considers this to be the best. I mean, there's a great game on the Silicon Road channel with between Ruby Chess and Stowflace, where Ruby Chess with white played incredibly to win. Komodo thinks that delaying the development of the dark square bishop is the best, c6, but then queen d2 with an evaluation of 0.72. But really quite interesting that it considers this line to be best for white there. Against one g6, funnily enough, I was expecting Komodo to do something with knight c3, but actually Komodo prefers simply the move c4, heading back into some sort of modern King's Indian type of position. It also spends a lot of time on the little move order d6, which I actually had played against me by Josef Dorfman in Cannes. Great game, actually. Do look it up. That was really quite an amazing game. But the point of it is after c4 to play e5, and well, if white plays d takes e5, then well, these positions are usually thought to be a bit better for white. But the fact that the bishop's not on g7 is quite useful. It can come out to c5 or to b4, and this was the point. So after e5, you can play knight c3, bishop g7, d5, and we're back into a variation of the modern. I mean, Komodo considers this to be a slight white advantage, but not absolutely terrible for black. But I was quite interested, quite intrigued to see that it played. It wanted to head back, well, to give black the possibility even to play a King's Indian, and that it considered this to be better than lines with knight c3. Surprising to me, but that's what Komodo thinks. So there we are. That was sidelines against 1e4. In our next videos, we'll start to move on to 1d4, and we've got a lot of very interesting stuff there, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.